I reset Safari so many times a day. Like you can't imagine, on my parents' computer, on my computer. And because every day you're kind of like, this person naked, this person naked. I almost said Equus because it was Daniel Radcliffe in Equus. Sorry, but I was just like, this I gotta see. I was like, I gotta see this hog. I'm telling you, like 90s, 1990 Abercrombie, like the old cuts of things.
Really?
Really delicious. Like,
Interesting.
I'm just gonna show you. Like, see?
Yeah. And the nice pleats are really like, you look great. You look amazing.
Shit! I'm with my guys.
Well done.
Start the week with my guys.
I'm
This
wearing
feels good.
new Abercrombie, so it doesn't hit the same.
Everyone keeps bringing up new Abercrombie to me. They
Yeah.
say best white tee.
People are loving. See, I went in only to like feel the basics. Can we start?
Yeah.
Hello, beautiful human.
I hope we are.
Yeah, this is important. I'm Zach. That is Dan. Today, we welcome to the studio for the very first time a human being who sees our attention back like 2018, 2019. I mean, this human being is a comedy legend. I mean, it's really crazy. You have made the move from the vertical screen to every fucking screen imaginable. Say hello to a human being who crafted a show that I love. And you will love it too. If you haven't watched it already, you should. It's on Prime Video. There's a link below. Say hello to Benito Skinner.
Hi, hey you guys. Oh my God, I'm with my kings.
No.
I feel like I'm in the gym right now with my guys.
He goes to the gym. I don't gym.
Oh, I love that. I think we should all go together.
You definitely go to the gym.
Yes.
Well, for this I did, because I thought if I didn't, then if I said I played football, gays in Bushwick would be like, "Oh, you did? Nice try." Is the athlete in the room with us? You know, so it's like, all right.
Who's putting together these advertisements and the promo materials? Because there is a lot of you shirtless.
So there is, yeah. I wish it was just me. Could you imagine? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing all of it. You know, we wanted it to feel college and nasty, and I was naked so much in college because I was trying to seduce, you know, straight men, men who turned out to be straight. But yeah, I think we were like, we wanted to take people back to that kind of American Pie, Mean Girls time, you know, in media. And it felt like that just feels so much this kind of like hyper-sexed fever dream. And then when you get to the show, I think you realize that that's just not really exactly what it is. I think it's like way more emotional. But, you know, you get them there with some sluttiness. I had to be a little bit of a hoe. Come on. You guys wanted me to. Just say it.
I mean, I'm here. I mean, you look incredible.
Thank you. So do you.
No,
Oh my God.
Not the same way. I genuinely
This
like
is
this.
crazy.
No, but this takes work to upkeep. So is there
you.
like a plan to continue?
Well, I think now it's just good for my mental illness, like I'm going to the gym, and yeah, it's fun. I was just talking to my friend about this, Mary Beth Barone, who plays my sister in the show, and I was like, honestly, like I get the gym culture of it all. Like you go in there, you're with your guys. Straight guys talk about my butt way more than gay guys do, so it's just really fun to be in there with my guys, and we're just doing some lifting, and I get some aggression out. It's really nice. I'm really into it now. It got me back to my like. I grew up as an athlete. My parents are really intense athletes, so it was like I feel like I kind of got back to that, and now it's yeah.
So at what point in your life does that go away? Because like being an athlete comes with like rituals that are very daily and a lot of routine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it went away in college because I wasn't playing a college sport, and I played so many, like I was always on teams in high school to the point where I just thought like you weren't supposed to enjoy any aspect of life. Like I really was like, oh, none of this is I'm never having a good time. Like I played basketball. I was like, this is the worst experience. I hate this. And football also. And then I think there was had I done theater, I probably would have felt like actual enjoyment of something. But I think, yeah, I kind of I weaned myself off in college because I was finally not playing a sport. And I had a radio show, and then I was like, "That's actually I'm enjoying myself and I'm having a good time," which felt really foreign to me then. And then now that I've had some space, I'm like, okay, I guess like some of this stuff feels good, and it does. I wish working out didn't make me feel good, but it does, and I'm sad to report that. I wish it didn't.
I think that's like a really beautiful byproduct and like a full circle moment.
Thank you.
You got ripped for a show. I mean, your show.
Thank you.
Definitely get another season. I can feel
I
it.
hope so. Yeah, we'll go next door and talk to them after this.
Quite literally.
I'll say, hey, how we doing? Guess who?
But like that is like a beautiful thing. Like yes, there's some community. Yes, there's a reintroduction of like deep ritual. But the other thing too is like working on a TV show is a lot of ritual. It's a lot of like daily shit that you have to stick to and abide by to get something accomplished.
Yeah, and not wanting to ever, I think, I wanted to hear everyone out and be really, I'm definitely a perfectionist, and I had sat with this script and this story for like 5 years. So I think they're also just getting some energy out and doing that so that if people came to me and pitched something, that I would be a good creative partner with them and I would want to collaborate and not be married to how I thought a scene would go or what I thought a character would be or what they'd be wearing. Like I wanted to be open to it. So I think, almost like the training of it helped me kind of get this like whatever perfectionism thing out of my system, so that when I could come to work, I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's just like let surprises happen, and I can free myself of whatever I think this is supposed to be and allow the people around me to feel comfortable too.
When did you realize that was a part of making a TV show?
Of the collaboration?
Well, freeing yourself of what you expect.
Oh my God.
And kind of to a certain degree it's hard. Like it's based on what you have a vision for.
Yeah. But
there are compromises along the way.
Of course. Yeah. I think early, you get that first round of notes on a script and you're like, okay, everyone hates me. I'm like, everyone's mad at me and I shouldn't write ever again. But because I had also come from the internet where like I wrote all my scripts and then filmed them and released them, and it was just like it took a week. So I'm just like and I wasn't getting notes unless it was like a comment maybe. But so I think it was early on, but what I found is that every time after the notes, I loved the script so much more. Like I found so many more things and it pushed me in a way that I don't think the internet at a certain point could have pushed me any further. I also just felt like I had made everything at that point. I'm like, I can't buy another wig. Like I've done every single one. But yeah, I think it was those first notes where I was like, oh, this is so different and such a different creative experience. And it was challenging to me, because I think I was coming to it from a place of like, oh, does this mean you don't like it? And learning early, like that's not it. I think it's just these things are like conversation. Everything's a conversation. And I think that kind of being exciting is what the shift, is the shift that happened for me.
And by the way, like it's coming out of a place of like everybody wants this to be the best possible thing because they're all involved to a certain degree. Yeah.
And they want everything to be communicated in the right way. They're like, maybe you think that this is what this sounds like to, you, but for us, it's like, what does this mean? Like, why is that joke so important? Or why, even like how we were going to do the video game in the show or anything like that. They're like, what are you trying to communicate with this? Like, and I had such an amazing showrunner, Scott King, who would be like, I know what you're trying to do. Let's say it like this. And then, and that I think was so exciting to me. It's like finding the people that you trust and then just letting them, and actually trusting them.
Dude, Scott King's a real one. And I heard he's like lung collapsed.
Yeah. Wait, how'd you hear that?
We hear things.
Oh my God. I'm like, some of the cast doesn't know that. I'm like, that's it. He is truly one of the greatest gifts of my life. I feel like at each moment in my life and now in my career, I've met someone at the exact moment I needed to. I met my boyfriend when I had just moved to New York, and he told me to make my Instagram public. And then I met Mary Beth when I was just starting to do stand-up, and I felt like everyone's going to call me like a YouTuber in a derogatory way, and they're not going to book me on their shows and be like, Internet Boy doesn't need to be here. And she booked me on every show that she did. And then, we were about a year into working on this, and Amazon had me meet with Scott, and it was like, boom, that was like exactly what I needed. Like it's one of those like creative partnerships where we just understood each other so wholly. He was so passionate about the show and what we wanted to do. And he was still pitching jokes from the hospital bed when his lung collapsed. And I'm like, you're insane. I found that out, and it was the least surprising thing I've ever heard, because that's who he is and that's what he was on this set. And like anything that could have been scary to me, because some of these things did happen in my life. And I felt like, oh my God, am I going to be too panicked? Or can I even like approach this in a way that, it will feel new? And he pushed me in every way and was so, just legend beyond. I mean, he's like made every good show. So
what do you realize in that moment when have that awareness to come to terms with that like kind of divine alignment or divine timing? Or
I think that I've always gone to the right spaces though. Like I really do trust my intuition of like, you know, when I was starting to do stand-up, I knew that the place I needed to do it in was at these shows in Brooklyn and with women and queer people. And that's what led me to Mary Beth. And with Scott, it was like we knew that we needed someone on this show who had really nailed it before, and who could come to it with, I think, almost like just so much experience that for me, this being my first time, that us together, it would feel fresh, but also like we had done it before with the pairing. So
it's exactly what you want.
I don't know what brought us together, but whatever I did, like, I don't know, maybe I opened a door for someone at some point, hopefully. Yeah.
But the truth is too, is like you took the first step every time and then
I do.
They entered into your path, right?
I like being scared. Yeah, definitely. I think I really like being as nervous as possible before each thing I'm about to do. Like the day before this show came out, I was like, what have I done? Like, I'm so scared for it to come out. And then it was like that day, I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, I'm so glad I did make this show. But it is, each thing.
What parts were making you nervous or made you nervous?
I think I was just like, oh my God, now it's everyone else's. And people can consume it in a way that maybe not consume it, but it just feels so strange to, I think, have sat on material. Like I had so much, I think, respect for musicians too in that moment of you've made this very personal thing and then you give it to people and then they're like, not just critiquing, but I think they're immersing themselves in it and bringing their own experience to it. And that is something I was nervous about. It's the thing that I've enjoyed the most since the show came out is like how people, if they have like fan theories, if they have moments, if they tag me in someone and they're like, this is who my Carmen was in college. Like all these things that I thought would be scary to me has been my like greatest joy. Like I feel so relieved that it's been received in the way it has. It's
mutual
crazy.
Understanding.
Yeah. Coffee bean flying in.
Wait,
keep this.
By the way, it's so funny. Like
coffee beans back, you guys.
No. Who says that? Who says that? Coffee beans.
When we
back.
heard you wanted
Right
coffee
here.
bean, we said,
could you believe
coffee
it?
bean?
We're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? There's an
Welcome
inner
to
one.
2008 recession indicator.
I mean,
sorry.
Also, you're wearing vintage Abercrombie
with a Prada shirt.
So, by the way,
It's that. See, it's that duality, you guys. That's what I want to surprise you.
we quite literally are across the street from an Erewhon, so that's what everyone requests. No.
Not me. Hey, Idaho. Are you kidding? Born and bred, corn-fed. Let's go. Yeah, it's delicious. Okay, so medium iced. You didn't ask. Medium iced with hazelnut powder. Half the powder. You don't need all of that.
Got it.
Extra ice because
Are
they're
you
really.
nervous?
The ice is amazing.
But are you nervous that you're like
Shit my pants? That I shit myself in this room.
But you're consuming something that like you're saying powder, like
So
what?
here's the thing. I'm the youngest in my family, and I think by the time they got to me, my parents were just like, "You want McDonald's? Fuck yeah, king." Like I grew up on just like, who cares? But yeah, I think if my teeth will all fall out at some point, and I do feel one that's feeling a little rickety right now. But other than that, I think the powder's good for you. It's good. Yeah.
How are you acquiring your vintage Abercrombie? So is this like a new sector of vintage
This
that
is so okay.
are you thrifting it?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm like a grailed warlord. It's my private place, but I am using my full name on there, so I probably should stop. But I'm like, don't lowball me, dude. Like it's like me in there, and I'm like, that's not worth that. Don't be crazy. Don't be crazy now. Okay, so
If you
old J. Crew, old Abercrombie, the fits of these, they get pleats right.
Yeah, they do.
Because pleats can be tricky. You know that.
Yeah.
We've talked about this, you guys. And so I was looking, and my stylist and I, Jake Samus, we're like obsessed with old J. Crew and so I just started looking it up on Grailed, and I can't stop now. So I found these pants, $25, you guys.
deal.
Yeah, crazy.
$25.
Well, if you
I'm
want
wearing the Prada top. I'm like, it's a steal.
No, but that's the duality is there, but
It's there,
also you
baby.
can never find the fit. And I will say, you're into the new Abercrombie.
Well, I like the old Abercrombie, but have you ever seen the Abercrombie vintage safari jacket?
No.
Oh,
whoa,
you guys-
okay. He's hitting me with the big ones today.
have
That's
work
a
to do.
Grailed item.
That is a
Yeah.
grailed item. You have work to do when you get home. Look that up.
Do you have it?
It's hard to find.
I mean,
Hey,
all the-
can I just say, give me 5 minutes. Me on Grailed, me on Poshmark. I'm literally, it's my one skill, I swear. Making TV, hopefully, and that's it. Yeah, I can't do anything else. Yeah, I'll get you some.
you mentioned Carmen.
Yeah.
Where's your real life Carmen?
My real life Carmen, her name's Nora Neal, and she lives in New York City. And the night we met, we did steal a golf cart. She had me steal a golf cart, and and we were in DC, and she drove it down a main road to a CVS. And no one, I think because we were doing it, everyone was like, oh, they must have like clearance. This was during Obama. So like DC was fun. Everyone was happy. They're kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Do it. But she recently saw the show and it was like really emotional. Like she came to a screening in New York. And the first thing she said, she was like tearing up and she was like, oh my God, the golf cart. She's like, I almost can't even watch. She's like, it's so, but I think also, it's like scenarios are inspired by her and that's kind of the whole show. It's like these relationships are inspired by people, but I had so much fun writing the characters and then having someone like Wally Barham come in, then you start to write for them. I knew her wheelhouse and I was just like, oh, she's so talented and so funny and is also a writer. So I knew that she would kind of bring that to it as well. And she did. But yeah, it's been surreal for some people like that to watch it. And my parents, it's just weird.
Your parents on the show are fantastic.
Incredible.
By the way, you got two of the most iconic human beings.
Titans.
What the?
I've never been more nervous in my life than I was the day, because first Kyle was coming. So we were doing all the scenes with Kyle. And I was so nervous. I was like, this is one of my heroes. And I was like, God, I was telling myself on the way there, I'm like, you're the creator of the show. Don't ask him about Sex and the City. Don't ask him about, don't talk about Blue Velvet. Like, he's just trying to work. Leave him alone. And I walk in the trailer and there was one joke about him wearing Invisalign. And I was thinking like, oh, we could scrap it if you don't want to do it. He was already getting fitted for them. He was like, I also want them on the bottom. He was howling laughing. And we were so worried that they would think it was like a small production. So Scott King had gone and we got the biggest trailers for them. Like it was like full like pop star trailers. And he goes, what the fuck was up with that trailer? He goes, is there a hot tub in there? Like it was insane. I was like, oh, he's the best person I've ever met. And Connie, the exact same. It was like immediately locked in. Just so fun.
I gotta say, Welcome to the Black Parade is one of my favorite episodes in the series.
Thank you. Me too. I love that. That's like probably my favorite.
Beautifully done.
Thank you so much.
Just really, from start to finish, really fucking good.
That was a fun one to write and act and watching them too. And oh my God. Yeah. And Mary Beth, I got to be there the day she was recording the karaoke. I didn't have scenes. Yeah, that one felt like we all got a lot out of our system in that. And I think even, Connie and Kyle too, because it is this weird thing, they both have kids. And I think this feeling of meeting a different kid than the one that you dropped off at school. And also trying to still feel connected to who you were when you were younger, I think. Yeah, I love that episode. I love doing that one.
Did this whole experience make you look at your own life differently?
Yeah, definitely. I would say probably for the last 10 years, I've thought I wasted so much of my life being in the closet. And I'm like, I just missed out on so much. I joke that I was in the closet abroad and I was living alone. And I'm like, how could I not have sucked some D? Like, that's crazy. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, but then I think back to where I was and I was like, oh, I just was so scared and in my head. And I really thought that no one around me would stay, that I would let everyone down. And so I think in making the show, I think I judged myself so much less than I think I finally gave myself some forgiveness for not coming out sooner. I think that I had my reasons and I think I learned in the show, and so many of us did, that this kind of cringe or sad time in our life that we're, where you're trying to be someone else, that we all came to it with our reasons. And whether it be the smallest thing someone said or literally turning on the TV every day or going into the locker room and being gay is the worst possible thing you could possibly be.
I wanted to ask about that. What was it like being a football player closeted in high school?
I mean, it was insane because I would go to, I think I learned so quickly. I'm like, okay, I could be anything except gay. I remember one kid pulled me aside and he was like, I just want to check, you like pussy, right? And I just thought it was I almost started laughing. But then it was also, it was the first time I really remember feeling the freeze experience, what you feel like when you're in a full panic attack. And it was just very threatening. But the way he said it was also so funny. And I think that's the show. It's there is such a threatening aspect to all the very hyper masculinity in it. But it is also, it's funny, but it's really scary and intense. it was so strange for me. And then I went to college and I felt like just a slight openness immediately. You know, I had this amazing roommate my freshman year who grew up in Brooklyn. So like gay wasn't the worst thing you could possibly be. And so I started like tiptoeing into it. And then I met Nora and that kind of opened it up too, where I think, you know, you meet the first people that don't know your family either. And I think that was really freeing for me of like, you don't know who I was. So maybe I can reintroduce you to who I actually am and see if any of these things are landing. And yeah, they were.
That is such a crucial social moment as to like why school or some moment of separation between family and like you is desperately needed at that stage in life.
Yeah.
Because it like you do come with preconceived ideas and notions when you're within just a few miles of your home because people know where you're from and who you are. And
yeah, you think everything will go back to your parents or, you know, and I think that's why my sister did go to college with me the first year. We get along very well. So that was kind of a funny twist for her. But I think that's why I loved that Welcome to the Black Parade episode too. It's like that there is almost like this, it's almost like Benny and Grace are spying on each other at school. That Benny's kind of like, you're different. And she's like, you're a little different too. Huh. Like, are we going to let each other get away with it or are we going to call it out? And I think that is true for so many. Yeah, it's so many people where you're just like, oh my God, you know, is this, can I finally let this freak out? Which I think is kind of the show. It's like, could I maybe just say this? Could I maybe just do this? But I think we all just want to be loved so much. And that was me in football. It was like, I would say whatever I needed to say in that locker room to survive and put that costume on and bear it. And, you know, sometimes my voice would go a little higher and it would get called out and then I'd go back down and good times. I'm like, oh, coffee bean break. Yeah.
How did you get from like playing football in high school to having a radio show in college?
Well, this was kind of the friends that I had made. You know, I just found like, oh God, I'm not in Idaho anymore. All love to Idaho, but thank God. And yeah, I just was like, oh my God, these, you know, I'm having different conversations than I used to have. The being gay thing just wasn't brought up. Like no one really talked about my sexuality when I got there. And I was like, okay, either I've totally fooled all of you or you're not on high alert for being gay like I am. But I met these friends and I met this friend Calvin. And I just remember I had this idea of like, I had always loved music and I think I loved it because it was my like safe private space. Like I could put headphones in and blast the Fame Monster and that was like my private time of like I can be myself. There were some like non-negotiables I had in the closet and I think music was always that.
It's like mutual understanding, right? Like what you feel through music is what a lot of people feel from Overcompensating.
I hope so. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, thank you for saying that. I hope so. It's like what you watch in the basement when your parents go to sleep and you're like, oh, now for me, that was like Glee, you know, Glee or Queer as Folk every now and then for porn. And then, you know, I think that music had been kind of a safe space. So then I was like, oh, this would be so fun. And also I feel performative. Like I want to talk into a mic, you know, like this is everything to me. I mean, like, I love it.
But the radio show, like, would that be the kind of the framework for what you would end up doing on TikTok? Like even doing your impressions, what were you doing on the air? Were you just playing songs?
We were just talking and playing songs and then I'd sneak in like a Sky Ferreira one and like homo, you know, I'd be like, yes, I love this one. We played it was a lot of rap and a lot of like trap fun. It was very like college vibes. And then, occasionally I'd be like, I love this Lana Del Rey remix, you know, and my co-host would be like, yeah, love it. Sounds great.
So like, no impressions?
No.
When do you start doing impressions?
I didn't do any impressions until my senior year, I found Dub Smash.
Oh, yes.
And so that was when I started like lip syncing to videos. And all my classes, like there were so many people who were starting to tag friends in it. And I was like, oh, this is weird. And then I got addicted to it. Like I loved it so much. And I can still like, if you give me a lip sync, give me like 5 minutes. I'm upset. Like I love it. But I was doing it because I didn't have to use my voice. And I thought if I used my voice, everyone on the internet would be like, you're gay. And I wasn't out yet until my senior year.
So much of this is like connected to you like pretending to be something.
100%.
But also still wanting to be out there.
Of course, yeah. It's like it was kind of my non-negotiable. I'm like, well, I do love these cameras. I'm like, shit, fuck, I guess I have to perform. And people kept asking, so I was like, all right. And then after I graduated is when I finally made my first sketch that was just my voice. Because I was like, now I'm out of college and I feel like I have a separation from it. And even when I was there, it was like I was tiptoeing, out of the closet the whole time, but I never fully was out on campus. And so it was like, all right, I've moved to New York. I met my boyfriend, and then I just started. It was like every day I was posting a new sketch, and I finally started saying out loud, "I'm gay." Benny doesn't say it in the entire show, like he doesn't, and I didn't for so long. Like I really wouldn't say it out loud. I think when I came out to my friend Nora in a Domino's parking lot, I said like I'm attracted to this one man was my way of framing that, and she was like, for sure. Yeah. She's like, no one else, huh? Just him? Cool. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, I think you kind of see, if you see almost the beginning, don't scroll. But if you do look at my, work, you see someone finally accepting it and then starting to love it. Like I felt like once I was out and with my boyfriend and I just felt so, and I was in New York, like all these things that I thought I would never be able to do were happening. Then the Wigs came out, and then we were going to let her rip. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you did say that you're gay?
I think it was to, we used the line in the show to my friend Nora. When I started texting with Terry, I text her and I go, I think I'm just gay. I don't think I'm bi. Or I had said a few other things. I had said queer and bi, and at one point I said it could just be the person, which is what I have Megan Fox say in the 5th episode, which was how I was twisting it in my head, was like, maybe it's just this person. It's just this once, like a one-time thing, like feelings. And that was something that I had in my head too. But yeah, I texted her and I was like, yeah, I'm just gay. And she was like, love it. It's so fun. She's like, I know. Yeah. Which, everyone knows at a certain point. And too, but it's so hard to say it to yourself, I think. And then once you do, it's just crazy thinking how in my head I was about it, because now it's like I love being gay deeply. Well, I'm gay, you guys.
You are?
No way.
Oh, no.
I know. As I sip the coffee bean. Yeah. You know what? We might need another. Okay, what's up?
My roommate in college came out to me, and it's like very similar to your story. Like, we all knew. He came from Miami to New York.
You kicked his ass.
And then I beat him up. Yeah. No, but it was just so cool to say, like, once he came out to everyone, like, he was a completely different person. So much happier, so much more, like, alive and brighter. And I was like,
yeah.
I think he was just in his head, because everybody's like, we know and we don't care.
Exactly. Like, you're free. But you get it in your head. Like, and I remember I had this really nice talk with one of my friends who I thought you think I was so different, like that maybe you wouldn't look at me in the same way. And he's like, no, you are different, but it's good. Like he's like, I feel like there's just a different, being around you feels like less stressful. He's like, there used to just be something where it was like, I can't quite crack this person. Like, what is he? Because I think I do that in my performance in the show. I wanted to be so unbelievably stiff because I remember that.
Yeah.
Like I remember, it's like my back hurt, like carrying the shit around. I was like, God, my neck hurts, my shoulders hurt. I'm like, I am so tensed and trying to have the thickest neck possible. Because I was doing what a version of like an Idaho straight guy is. You know what I mean? Like I would have loved my version of an LA straight guy, but the Idaho straight guy, it was like monotone and it was tough. It was an interesting
What's
vibe.
the hardest part about trying to be straight? Because when you came in, I went for a handshake and you said, no, give me a hug.
So that I can't. I go, don't get that shit away from me. Someone just told me though that if you look at the elbow,
yes,
you can do it. But then I'm like, well, now that wouldn't have worked in the closet. Could anything look gayer than that? You know what I mean? Of me staring at it. I'm like, sorry, I'm not doing that.
I want to make it clear, that's what I do though.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm just so nervous I'm going to miss it.
Exactly. And here's my thing. I'm just kind of like, this meant the world. Like during COVID, the only good thing during COVID, this was obsessed with. Or elbow was crazy, but I would do that too. What's the hardest thing though? I would say the thing I thought about the most was my running. I would watch YouTube videos every day of like running form, and I still think about it when I run, because I would go really high, and it's just like I just have a feminine way of running. I can't do it, and so I would be so. And it's funny now, but it was like I was insane. Like and voice is really hard, and not being excited about something that you are actually excited about. Like when Gaga wore the meat dress, do you know how hard that was for me to just like go to school the next day and just sit there and have all these people talking about it? And I was just like, yeah, no, it was a good show.
But where
she
are
did a good
you?
job. I'm like, she was in McQueen before, I'm like, there was so much I needed to say, couldn't say it.
But you were talking to nobody about this?
God, not really in high school. Like
on the internet?
A little bit, not on the internet either. I reset Safari so many times a day. Like you can't imagine, on my parents' computer, on my computer. And because every day you're kind of like, this person naked. I almost said Equus because it was Daniel Radcliffe in Equus. Sorry, but I was just like, this I gotta see. I was like, I gotta see this hog. But it was so... I'm sorry, Daniel Radcliffe, Equus. There was this really iconic Chris Evans photo shoot he did. Matt Bomer in Suits was huge for me. Yeah, it was just crazy. And so I would just reset Safari all day. That was it. So internet, I would have never. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. And I used to watch straight porn. And so I'm so glad we're talking about this. And I would be like, well, yeah, I'm like watching for the girl, but I would look up like hottest stud, fucks girl, fucks like whoever. But I was just like absolute stud. It was just so, oh my God, it was crazy. I literally I think now, and I think that's what's cathartic about the show. It's like, some of these things are so funny now, but I'm like, I was so down bad. Like, this is great, And you get the conversations of like, oh, but like coming out, like, is it that even a big deal now? Or was it that hard at the time? And I'm like, I think that we still don't know what people are saying in locker rooms. I can't imagine that it's much better, especially given the administration. So that to me, I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that argument. But everyone has these things where it's like it's not just a queer experience of being like, this is who I have to be. And I think I found that with everyone on set. We were like, even one of the straight actors, there's a few of them in the show, not that many, but a couple. And he came to me, he's like, I had to like play lacrosse, and I literally every day, like I was so sick. I hated it more than anything. All I wanted to do was do a cappella, but then I thought everyone would call me gay, but I'm actually not gay. But it was just like, so these fears that I was having, I think they feel like everyone has that.
Totally.
And it's not just, and oh my God, and what, some of the women would tell me that they were going through in college of why they were dressing a certain way or why they were, how they would act on dates, and it just felt so we were all in our heads, and trying to be loved so desperately. Oh my God, Daniel Radcliffe, Equus. That was so deep in me. It had to come out. That's the last thing I needed to get off my chest. Season 2 is good.
Finally free.
Yeah, got nothing else. Shit. Wow.
You mentioned coming out, right? And it is an interesting coming out means being able to accept and live who you are, which is living your truth and being free, which is why you can be yourself and a weight comes off your shoulders and this kind of divide between you and the world is kind of lifted. Mm-hmm. But there is like this constant conversation in regards to and I don't know where I sit on it. Like this idea of like people, like straight people don't tell me that they're straight, right? Yeah. Like they don't need to it's not like a whole thing.
Yeah.
I also understand why one would take pride in coming out and why one should have that moment with each individual person in their lives. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily know where I sit, but I do know that based on stats, and I don't want to be that guy, and I know the administration says one thing, but generally the next generation is a much more accepting, loving group of people that, we've never seen anything like it.
No.
At least in our country, right?
No, and seeing it on TikTok too. I'm like, I haven't seen anything homophobic said about the show, at least on that anyone has posted or made a video about. I'm probably not being shown that, which would be great. Someone's taken my phone and deleted it, but, and seeing, I think the videos that some of the they feel like middle schoolers are making about the show and talking about the gay relationships in it and wanting more gay relationships. Yeah, that to me is so, there is something where we feel much more public than I think we did even when I was in school, and obviously, before that. But yeah, I think that it does feel like we're going there, but then I think there's something about, because of the administration, there also feels like, you know, no matter what, that's still being said. Like you're still hearing that. And I think even a kid at school would still hear that this is like disgusting, or that this is wrong, or that trans people don't exist. Like I think that no matter what, even if it's said once, and I think that's what I've tried to, you know, communicate at times in the show, is like, it really can just be someone said this to you once. And like, that's all you needed. Cause that's all I needed. Like one person said it was like not what I should be doing. And then once I was alerted to it, I saw it everywhere of why I shouldn't. And I fear that I don't know if that will ever totally go away, because straight people never face that. Gay people, it's just like, no matter what, you're going to get it. Someone's going to say it to you once. And I think we've all been in those situations. And I'm a cis white gay man, and I've been in a gas station and been like, I don't know. This moment feels weird. Should I be straight right now?
I get that.
You know, like moments like that I just think, no matter what, they're a part of our experience. And if they're a part of my experience, they are definitely a part of other people in the community's experience. So I feel like no matter what, these stories still feel important. And also, even if, you know, I think that coming out, obviously the stakes feel so high in the show, but it's also just like a comedy about it. And we're trying to, I think, tell a story. It's not every story, but I think that's the joy of it. It's like, I want to see so many more of these stories, because I think all of us have our own specificity and these little things. And I think we can all come to them with, I think, some human empathy and see ourselves reflected. But yeah, I think I also, you know, at times I'm like, this show isn't a drama per se. Like we're also having fun with it. So I think it does speak to maybe that there is a little bit more comedy that I think even the queer people can bring to it, that we're able to, I think, laugh and have like a cathartic experience, being like, look at what we did so that you fuckers would love us. And you still don't, you know, like, God damn it. But it's fine. We're okay now.
By the way, there is still seriously low representation as it relates to being queer in media.
Yeah.
There's like very little representation in TV shows, not enough representation at all.
Yeah.
Main characters, fucking side characters. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any of it. I'm not seeing enough of it.
Absolutely. I think there are, you know, because I remember even before I pitched, no one on my team or anything, but there was kind of like they made Love Simon and they made Love Victor. So, and I'm like, okay, but this would be like a different, you know, I'm like, I think we can have a couple. I think there's a few high school stories to, you know, I'm like, so we could do a couple college things. It's just, it is funny to be like, no, well, we did the one. It's like, wait, why does there need to just be one? That's insane.
I got to give it to Prime Video though. Red, white, and royal blue.
Yeah.
We do a pretty good job over here.
Absolutely. And it was never brought up by them. And I feel really lucky for that. You know, people have asked me that did anyone ever ask you to make it less gay? And I'm like, no, not once. I didn't get one note. They were like, do it. And at times I would write scripts and be like, I can't believe I'm like licking a condom in this. Or I'm like, are they going to like, is this too much for TV? For a streamer like Amazon? And no, I'm like, love it. Let her rip.
Can you explain to me how you're writing these episodes? Was it you in a writing? Or did you put together a room of writers?
Yeah, so we had a room, but the first two episodes, so I wrote the first two episodes, just me, and then Scott King came on, and then we started working them out and notes. And then I had kind of already outlined the season. Like I knew the last things that me and Carmen were going to say, and then we had the joke with Haley at the end. Like I knew that's how we were going to end it, which was always fun to have. Like I knew how I could get us there, and I think that was exciting. And I knew that in the Halloween episode, I knew the ending that was going to be there. And I kind of had all these characters ready to go. And then we assembled this writer's room of like my peers and some of my favorite people and my heroes. It was literally like, I think we got 8 weeks in the end. And it was just, we had so much fun because it's how I met Wally, which is insane. I was in there with Mary Beth. Yeah, it's how we met. Oh. She was sent, A24 sent her to me and they're like, have you seen this girl? Like amazing writer, you and her will click. They're like, you will love each other. And then I watched her stand up and I was like, she looks fucking exactly like what I have described this character to look like. And I immediately sent to my manager, I'm like, does she act? Like all caps. I'm like, did I find the one person in this city who doesn't act? I'm like, I will be so sad if she has no interest in acting. I will have found the one person who doesn't. She acts. They're like, she's interested. I was like, thank fucking God. So we did the room, and then at the end is when we asked her to read. She didn't know that we were going to have her read. I think maybe, in the back of her mind, she maybe thought like maybe I would submit a tape, but I don't think she knew that I was just like, she's getting the part. Like we met and I was like, that's Carmen.
You
like
knew
100%. I was like, that's her.
You knew the whole time while you were
the
writing
entire time. After we met, I knew. I recently talked to Kyle MacLachlan about this, and he was talking about, and in no way, can I just say, in no way am I saying that me and David Lynch are alike. and that is literally my hero, but please God, do not clip this. But he was saying that, sometimes David wouldn't even have people read. He would just like go to lunch with them. And I so understand that feeling of like, you can feel it. Like we were talking on Zoom. She was so brilliant and so funny. And I felt everything that Benny feels when he meets Carmen in the show in that Zoom. And I'm like, and Scott King was in that Zoom with me. And after, he was like, I could watch you two talk to each other forever. And I'm like, what about 8 episodes on Prime Video? What if that's what you got to watch? And he was like, oh my God, yes. And so yeah, it's something, and it's how I felt with Mary Beth too. I'm like, I never needed to see her tape. She obviously did many times, but I just was like, it's so her. Like I feel it. They feel like real people. They love these characters, and I wanted like comedians in this too, and stand-up comedians. Like 3 of our main cast are stand-up comedians,
and people that you and Mary Beth, like each other.
Yeah, and to play siblings too, and siblings who are fighting. So I was like, I like that we have history, and we actually have a good history, which is funny. But it was just so getting to do this with her was like a life's goal, I think, because I grew up with like Adam Sandler movies and Tina Fey, Maya Rudolph, Amy Poehler, like acting in each other's projects. So I thought that was always like what you did. It is harder than that. And they probably all had to fight for that. But, and it was, it was hard because it's like a lot of us just didn't have this experience. But in the end, getting to be on set with her and having her play my sister, I was like, this is the dream.
By the way, like once you do it once, like everything gets easier,
That's what a few people have told me. I'm hoping. I'll let you know on the other side. Yeah. It is hard. It's like all these things are, this is the first time, and I still overcompensate. So it's just being like, and even when I say I came to the writer's room and I was like, I have the whole season ready, and everyone's like, well, you don't have to. We can talk about it. And I'm like, totally. Yeah, let's actually talk about some of this stuff. Like what works. And that was what was, and also, yeah, I just want to shout out like Jordan Mendoza is in that room, and he wrote the 6th episode with us, Mitra Johari, Pat Regan, Tommy Doe, Halstead Sullivan. It was like crazy. It was like 8 weeks of, people that I just love so much, and we had so much fun writing this show. And there were some that I think I was glad that I went, like the 5th episode I kind of really did in private, because I knew that I had a really specific thing I wanted to say with that one, and get it right and get this queer experience that I think so many of us have had of putting your love and also your coming out kind of on someone else and in someone else's hands. And so that one was, that was one that was really special and kind of, but all of them, I'm so proud of what the show is. And that room was amazing. We had so much fun.
Do you approach that episode you do alone differently now that you had been in a writer's room learning from everybody?
I think that I think you come to it with this kind of, I started to get excited that everyone in the room would read these things, and that and I would get excited to read their notes or their joke pitches. Like it just felt so like, I can't wait to send this to Scott King and have his notes and have his pitches for it. Like that was how I felt. And I don't know if everyone feels that way. Like, because this is my first time, I felt so lucky that we had this room where it was just so fun to like send a script out. I remember we did, I think it was on the 4th episode, Mitra sent her script out, and then we kind of had pairs of us do like joke pitches, and Wally and Jordan Mendoza did their pitches together. I have never laughed more at like the combination of the two of them and their humor and what they sent as pitches. It was so batshit and genius, and like and that's where it just was so fun. It was like this show and these characters that I love so much. Now we get to just, it felt like a playground for us of college, like the tapestry of a college to pull jokes from. It's endless. We could go forever. So, but yeah, I think that since it was personal, also I had personal relationships with everyone in the room. So it's like sending them, that episode was so exciting, and them to be like, you know, I think we got it. Like, yes. And also like maybe one more like dick joke here. yeah. It was just fun.
By the way, you should watch it. Overcompensating. It's on Prime Video. It's waiting for you. Link below.
Yeah.
Episode 4 was the Charli episode, right?
Yes.
Was that your idea?
Yeah. So it's funny, the Charli of it all, I'm currently in trouble online because someone thought I lied on Seth Meyers with how I don't think they know how long a TV show takes to make. So they're like, she didn't join the show. Like, this isn't, they're like, you didn't ask her at a party. Like, you're friends with her. Fuck you, you lying faggot. And I'm like, wait, no, that's how we met. Like, I didn't know her. And this was probably like 6 years ago, I think. And I had written the pilot and I just like had it in my head. I was listening to Pop 2 and I was like, oh, I wonder. And this was around Labyrinth and Euphoria. So I was like, this is something on the menu of someone who has come to it and had previous work and came into a show and like became the almost like godlike voice of the music of the show. And so I was like, yeah, I wonder if Charli would ever do that. And so I see her at this party and I come up to her and I pitched her the show like so intensely.
So
which is
funny.
so psychotic. And also given like who she is, she's just kind of like, hey. But she was like immediately locked in a way that like she is so interested in everything. Like, and I think that's why anyone who's like, she's doing all these acting projects, like what? I'm like, nothing could make more sense for me than her doing that because she is so endlessly curious by things and excited by something that feels like what she wouldn't be pitched. So I think it was actually like exactly what she wanted in that moment is someone to just be like, here's something completely different than what you're doing. What do you think? And she signed on the next week and it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. She was like, you know, thinking of who she is now and how she's like finally been given her flowers. The fact that Charli XCX sat in on like 8 pitches that we did, like she was on every Zoom, like just in the corner, like, hey guys, I'll be doing music, like musical supervision and like helping score the show. I'm Charli. And now it's like, it's, you know, that's Miss Brat. That's Miss XCX.
By the way, like Charli XCX is one of the greatest artists to walk our earth for the last 20 years.
Exactly. That's
Like,
why it had to be her, you know, because I'm like, everyone will have a college story to one of her songs and they'll feel it. Like when you hear it for the trailer, it was always going to be, I Love It. And then they had she and George had done that remix that we used for the trailer, which I hope comes out at some point. It's so good. And I was like, everyone will just be like, the second you hear I Love It yelled, you're like, I know where I was. Like I threw up to this. This is sick.
Okay.
I did Molly to this. It's disgusting.
Can you walk me through your initial package? So like you write a script and it's you, Charli XCX, and who else just going and selling the show?
Yeah, it was Strong Baby with Jonah Hill, and yeah, A24 and Charli.
Cool.
And it was the dolls. Yeah, and it was really seeing all of us kind of on a Zoom is exactly what you think it would be. Yeah, I think at one point Jonah was in his backyard in a bucket hat, smoking. It was amazing. He's the best. I mean, like I felt so lucky because I had written this thing that I was so scared, and I thought, you know, it's weird. It's funny how we think of the internet, and I even see that now. I'm like, I had told myself that people would be that wouldn't expect like anything or wouldn't think the script was good or wouldn't be interested in the project. But then I thought about also like when I was in college looking at like Issa Rae and Broad City, and I was just like, so many people have come from a YouTube or an Instagram or a Twitter, and so I'm like, this is kind of this great, I think, way that so many of us can enter this industry if you don't know anyone or didn't go to a school that kind of allows for these relationships to, you know, blossom. Like, you know, I went to Georgetown, but there's not a huge film program or anything, you know, there's not like a infrastructure to help you get like a job after. So it was kind of like without that, I thought, how the fuck else could I do this? And it was the internet. But yeah, getting to, I think, have the people who jumped on board immediately and saw, I think, themselves in the project and were excited to tell this very like specific story, but it felt so like nostalgic and kind of sweet and of a different time, I think. in the way that we wanted to make it, of kind of the American Pie thing I was saying, and this kind of taking those old tropes, but then making that queer and also very like female centric at times. And that I think was really exciting to everyone. But yeah, getting to pitch with them was so, I mean, I was so nervous because I was like, I can't do them wrong.
But like, so a lot of the scripts are based off of your tour. Is that what initially pushed you to write a pilot?
Yeah. So I was touring this stand-up show called Overcompensating, and it was mostly just stories and some characters about my time being in the closet in high school and college. And I think what I found when I was touring it was I felt like the audience was laughing so much, but then also I would get messages after of like them being really emotional about it and being like, oh my God, I did those things. And that felt so private that you shared that on stage. And then I had made a Kardashian Christmas around this time, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. Don't freak out all at once. But my agent was like, that felt like such a script. He's like, that was such a script. Like you made like a 10-minute sketch. Like, are you writing scripts? And I was like, well, no, just my videos. And he's like, no, so that's a script. Like, you've written a sketch. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And he's like, you should think about maybe if you would want to do that, because it seems like you enjoy writing. And I think I definitely bring to it of like, but I'm not classically trained. I'm like, I couldn't ever call myself a writer. That's crazy. And he's like, no, just try it. So like, just try it once. And so then I went into my notes app and I wrote the pregame scene that's in the pilot. I was like, I don't know why I had this character Haley already that I had done videos as, which is so funny that now she's in the show, played by Holmes, like insane. And I wrote that pregame scene and I was like, oh, this is funny. I'm like, I think it would be about me being in the closet. And then I guess if I'm thinking about when I stopped overcompensating, it'd be when I met this woman and came out to her. And when I fell in love with a man for the first time and what that relationship felt like and her kind of helping me through it. And then from there, I sent that to him and he was like, you have to write the script. You really should write it. And I'm like, okay. And then I wrote the script and I opened the live show with Lucky, and I knew that I had to open this with Lucky because it tells you everything you need to know, I think, about the show, about what we're trying to do, about the era, and about, I think, how I felt and how so many of the characters feel in the show. But yeah, that's what sparked it. An agents are incredible. Yeah.
And Lucky will be played at your funeral.
I hope so. Yeah, big organs. Yeah. I think it has to be. Probably also when I walk down the aisle, when you guys walk me down the aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you've been with your boyfriend for, what, 10 years almost?
Isn't that crazy?
It's a long time.
I think it's almost 9 now. Yeah. It is a long time. And people love to remind me, they're like, in gay years, that's crazy. I'm like, are straight people staying together that long? Like, please point that out to me. I'm like, you guys don't seem like you've got it figured out, so leave me alone. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I mean, he... we met at such a, it's funny also given like the Charli of it all too. It's like this show kind of created my relationship with Charli. And then we were with her one day and they started talking and I got to see, I feel like that relationship, them kind of finding each other in the moment. I think both really wanted someone to I don't know, like bounce these ideas off of and kind of re-enter the internet. And I felt like that was her, that was a really interesting time in her career, I think, pre-crash, that they found each other. Your
partner is Charli's creative director.
Well, it's so funny. I don't even know he is so bad at describing it. So obviously I'm terrible at describing what his job is. So she has a creative director. He almost leads kind of like it's both marketing and photography and kind of it's like almost like the internet language and the marketing world around it that he kind of can find. And he did it for Overcompensating too. Yeah, and he does it for a few musicians right now that he's working with. And it's kind of, he like finds out what wants to be communicated to, I think, the internet and the general public, and he finds a way to do that. And he also is like very inspired, I think, by like real, like tangible things out in the world. Like his thing is like getting people off the internet and more like, let's go to a brat wall. Let's go to, let's go to college tour. Like he was like, exactly.
What you guys did, the Palladium.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. He likes, of being like, people want to not just see the world. I think they want to feel it and be immersed in it. And I think that was something like, or even we did something at Coachella and he was like, that's, I think he's a great storyteller and really, and so passionate. And I think that's why he and Charli got along so well. I mean, she could send him, like I remember before Brat, she had sent this unbelievable kind of manifesto that I think she's posted some of it. And so he got that beforehand, and it's like, what a gift, I think, for someone like him that can see that and be like, oh yeah, you've given me an idea of like, this could work here. But she's such a genius. Like even her work on Overcompensating, I think she can see things so clearly and is so like she just knows it and she knows what will work. And, we did a few like music spotting sessions and I like this moment I'm about to walk down the hall, she goes, official, use official there, instrumental. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, bitch, it's perfect.
But he killed it. It is such a gift, like as a collaborator for an artist like that, to be given something like a manifesto, a roadmap, like to work with an artist who's so sure in their identity and like where they want to go.
And how sure is Brad too?
Come on.
It's I think he recently said, he's like, I just love like seeing the potential of something and being like, this is, it feels, and at times it feels, if I describe it, it does feel like a showrunner of sorts. Like Scott came in and was like, this is, you've told me you want all this. This is how I think this can get done.
But he did that to you? Did he not?
100%. He was like, you have to make your Instagram public.
Yeah, what?
And I was like, but they're all going to call me a flamer. And he's like, I think they're going to say it anyway. He's like, I would just let it rip. But it's been so great over it. Yeah. And to have that, I think, those conversations with him and it would be interesting because at times in my career I would release sketches and I would find that people would start to think of me as the thing that I was, making satire about. And I'd be like, oh, they're like misreading this. Like they think that I am this or that I don't know that this is a joke. And I think I feel so lucky that I had him to be like, well, then this is how that should be communicated. Like maybe you're doing it in the wrong way. And it's just things like that I'm like, I'm so lucky that we met and
like somebody who definitely brings out the best parts in you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And really, I think also what he's so great at too is knowing then when to be like, and now it's you. Like he didn't really come to set that much during the show. He was like, this is your thing. I'll see you on the marketing side. Like, go get him. Cause he was also doing Brat. And I think he can do that. And he's done that too. Like even with Charli, he's like, you did it. It's perfect. Like, it's like now go be Charli XCX, like just light it up. And I think that's what he's also great at too, is just being like, he's such an insane cheerleader and a coach and a physical therapist. Because at the time, sometimes you get really hurt in the game and you gotta be like, oh, that tweet ruined my week. And he's like, but I think we're going to be okay. This is how I'm understanding that. And this is what I think you should do next.
What an amazing partner.
He really is.
Holy shit.
I think it's what you said earlier. It's like whatever God thing I believe in. I needed him so bad when we met. And I can't believe that I got lucky enough to meet him. And the funniest thing of all is that I was introduced to him by Nora. Yeah, which is just like, of course, it's almost like she kind of sent me off into my life at that point. Like after college, she's like, we'll go to this party with these people from a different college. And I met him and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. I was like, oh, I'm locked in. And yeah, we introduced each other and then she set up the first kind of like a few encounters that we had. It's crazy.
That's so special.
Yeah, it's insane. I feel I don't know what I'm like, I hope that in any way, I will make up for it in making something that makes people happy. That's it. Because I don't know what I did, but
you are.
Yeah, I hope so.
Do you remember the first time you put on a wig?
Ooh, okay. So it would have probably been as a kid. I did a Mary Catherine Gallagher impersonation. That was my like first kind of little impression that I did, and for my family. And then I probably didn't put one on because then I went to school and then I was like, all right, all these things aren't really landing with my guys. Did
you do a little drag though in high school? I heard there was a moment where you danced with the football team.
This is so funny. So I did it once. Oh my God, I forgot about this. Yes, I think I talked about this with Comedy Central too once. I think that's what that was from. But there was this thing that it was either 8th graders or 9th graders, and the girls would dress up the basketball. No, was it football or basketball? It's my sports. It's all these balls, you guys. It's so hey, it's
Wait,
also
so you
dizzying.
played basketball too?
Well, of course.
That's crazy.
You're looking at a point guard. You knew that.
Fuck off.
These thighs, I'm dribbling around.
Point guard, what in football?
Hmm?
What position in football?
Wide receiver.
Of course, good hands.
Thanks, darling. Well, actually, not. And that's what's cool. Look at it. Like, I would be so. Look at it. Like, I would. My brain still. If someone throws something at me, look at it. Like, if you don't look at it, you guys, I can't. Naturally, I will not catch it. I can't. Oh my God, that's like, it's really scary. But yeah, I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was football. And these girls would dress up the football players as women, which is so funny given like the Idaho of it all. I came out to Lil Mama's lip gloss and I wore this little wig. And actually, it's so funny you're bringing this up. My friend who I did it with sent me a photo of it recently. Yeah.
Because there's no video on the internet of it.
Oh, no.
You
but
just,
I have a photo. I have the photo now, and I'm wearing like fishnet stockings, like this little mini skirt from Abercrombie. And I was a greeter, so I have to pay my respects. But it was it's one of those things where my mom came to it, and after she kind of didn't say anything, because she's like, whoa. We'll talk about that later. Like I'm sure you got a lot of your chest during that. But I came out to lip gloss and
comfort,
and I did win, I believe.
Yeah, because you're being your truth.
I got to be myself. Yeah, and it was this little kind of pixie wig. It was kind of sexy. It's very much like I do this video of Jenni. It's a TMI hairstylist, and I feel like her. It's very that, I would say. So that was it, and then I think after college, the first like wig was I put a shirt on my head and did Kim Kardashian's Snapchats. I did an impression of her Snapchat stories because I couldn't afford a wig. I mean, they're expensive.
But you really end up moving to LA because you have so many wigs.
Kinda. I mean, I was trying to make the show, and I thought it really was in my head that you have to move to LA to make a show. You don't. So just
you didn't realize that
you don't. Yeah,
everyone's on Zoom.
No, exactly, and still they're on Zoom, and it's like this is my first time in it, like at Amazon. You know what I mean? Like I think I've been here twice, and today I came in and I went. I think I only came here to pitch once, and everyone's like, "You're not here all the time." I was like, "No, you could do all of this on Zoom." We did the writer's room on Zoom. I didn't need to be. I'm like, God damn it. But I think I needed a change. And I'm glad I did. I miss New York so much, though. I had those years in my life where, like, I just look at them in such a, melodrama had just come out. So it's like that obviously means the world to me. And just getting to run up and down Bedford Avenue dressed as Serena van der Woodsen. I did it all. It was great. And I did shows at night at thrift stores with Mary Beth. Like, that's where we were doing stand-up. It was so, but.
That's the best version of New York.
It really was. And it's so surreal. Like, we would do shows and it's like I'm seeing those people now as I'm driving like on a billboard, and it's like the most trippy, incredible, bizarre experience. Like I'm like, that's Io, and I'm like, we were in a Union Hall basement, or like Rami or Z-Way, Mary Beth now. It's like, and it's really crazy.
I gotta say though, there's like
Meg Stalter, like that. I met her at we were doing the show Cruel Intentions in New York. And Mary Beth is always is so tapped in. And she was like, this girl just moved from Chicago to New York. She has to do our show. You are going to be so obsessed with her. And I was, and it was Meg Stalter. It's crazy.
New York City forever and always will grow talent in a way that like no other city on earth could ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's something about it though, that like, I can't explain it. Like it's just everybody who navigates there and then comes out of there is just built different.
It was weird too, because I say this and I really mean it. It was all like really good people too. I mean, it's like I remember I was coming up and I was so nervous because I was like, Matt and Bowen were like my heroes. And I thought like, oh, I hope, they don't just like, I don't know who said something bad about a YouTuber once to me, but clearly it stuck because I'm like, they're all just going to think I'm like an internet guy and like in a bad way, which is so sad that I felt that way. And they brought me on to Las Culturistas like really early, and it was like a dream. They were so warm and welcoming and funny, and then having them in the show, it felt like, oh my God, this full circle moment of like my heroes.
Were you surprised by the virality of that scene?
No. I love that scene so much. We had so much fun writing it, and it was my true, like, a producer came to me and they're like, who do you want to play the couple? And I was like, I'll just say it. You're all going to be like, that's crazy. We could never do that. Like, we'll see if, it will never work with scheduling. And I was like, Matt and Bowen. And then for some reason we had this one day and it worked and they could do it. And I was so nervous because it's like, you're used to the usual people on set. And, I wanted them to like have fun. And I was like, I hope, and we just had the best fucking day. It was heaven. I broke in every scene though. Cause it just like that, I've never written a scene faster. Like me, Scott King and Jordan Mendoza wrote that one. And we were just like pitching for that scene too of how this gay couple makes this open relationship work. The scene could have been 10 pages. Like I had the time of my fucking life. And what I didn't know is that Matt was going to say, or that Matt was going to do the tongue thing where he goes like tongue to like bottom of his chin. So the first time he did that, there's a take where I'm in the back and I just let out like a full cackle. I couldn't believe it. I was like, they are going so hard. And then Bowen says, get out of our townhouse. And in the script, it says house. And it sounds small. It made the world of a difference. I see townhouse. I was like, I'm going to piss myself. And I'm in that harness that's just like, I couldn't really breathe in it. It was so tight on my like fucking armpits. I was like, this is, but I knew that it would find its audience. I'm very glad that it got the love that I really think those two deserve. They're so brilliant. And it was so much fun. Oh my God. And like, I think also that's when casting is so fun because you can say so much in such a short amount of time. When Bowen walks in with wine, it's like you feel my shock, Benny's shock for a completely different reason, but you're so locked in and ready to go. And like, them fighting and then getting sexual. What a disgusting show we made. Thank you, Amazon.
It really is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Can we do some quick fire questions real quick?
Of course.
Quick fire
I could
questions.
talk to you guys forever.
Mutual.
This is home to me.
Yeah, this is good.
I'm going to do a coffee bean really quick before. Get your coffee beans.
I'll organize my notes. You ready?
I'm so ready.
The OC versus Glee.
Oh, Glee.
And how much do you think you spent on iTunes for all of those albums?
I probably spent, oh my God. I bet I was around $250. That's probably where we started to cap it. Because I didn't need the whole album, and I would go single by single.
And that's where they get you.
That's where they really get you. $199. Or I think it went up at one point.
$129. No.
$129.
Was it 99 cents and then it
99
went
cents
to
and then at $129.
Yes.
And when they did that, it's like, well, I need Bleeding Love, but do I need Bubbly by Colby Collette? Colette?
Colby Collette.
And thank you, and say that. Yeah. Do I need to elaborate on the Glee or OC, or can I just say that? Because I think people might be mad at me, but like I love both more than anything you could, like, that's one of the hardest things I've ever been asked, just so you know. But I think right now, I think Glee is more formative for me, but I did just rewatch the OC and it kind of changed everything.
Do you think Glee could come back?
I think so, yeah. I wonder if Glee comes back, it's less gay than it was. Because they're like, well, not everyone can be gay. I think, yeah, but, reboots are so hard. My heart goes out to anyone who has to approach those projects. I don't know what I would do. Like, if someone was like, can you do this? I would be like, you're just like immediately getting such a level of hate that I can't even, that's just like an impossible task at times.
Totally.
Maybe just leave it where it is.
Who's more exhausting to play? Cooper the intern or Jenni the TMI hairdresser?
Jenni, because I would have to chew so much gum. I remember being like, fuck, I got lockjaw after this. Yeah, I was like, shit, that was hard. And I could ramble as her forever. Cooper, it's kind of like we did I run into the scene, did it, and then I'm out. So Jenni, I could do her forever.
Did you ever think about like making shows around these characters?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can hear some of their voices in the show, and some people have pointed that out to me. Haley was so inspired by, I think, a little bit Jenni and a little bit the original character of Haley. I think maybe, but I also feel like that's where those characters are, and I don't know, if I transfer them over to something else, I would almost want someone else to play it or something. I don't know. It's like you saw me do that, so do you need to see me do that in like a studio setting? I don't know. I'm like, you already got it. So I think that's why Overcompensating feels very different. It's like you still hopefully can hear my comedic voice, but I am me, which is like, that feels kind of shocking after how much I've been tucking and wearing wigs for 8 years. Like, I'm like, fuck, what else could I do? I guess I'll be myself. Nightmare alert. Yeah, hell.
It's so real. What's more stressful, filming an emotional scene or having to shirtlessly run in slow motion?
I feel like emotional scenes because I think what's really hard is like, you know, it's hard to make your body feel that way. And you really do have to focus to such a level. And on a set like this where something can be so fun that you've shot right before it, like I think we tried to make sure that if we were going to do that for me, Wally, or Mary Beth or Adam, that we weren't, you know, putting like the funniest scene that we have in that episode next to like a really traumatic one.
Yeah.
I felt really privileged to get to act out some of these scenes. And I think that it was maybe not as stressful as much as like I was, I think, really excited but nervous because I was like, I hope that we communicate this feeling that I haven't seen totally nailed on screen yet. And I hope we can nail it. And I think that that's maybe where some of the stressfulness could come from. Running shirtless, I'm like, let it rip. Yeah. Let's go.
You've trained for this.
I'm like, we've been training, and I think I trained like for like a year and a half before we did this because I was just like, on the off chance that I'm playing a retired high school football player, I just want to be ready to go.
Was any of it weird to be playing a high school turned college freshman in your 30s?
100%. But then it felt like that time too. It's like, I think that was so funny. You know, obviously there's been that reaction to that. And I'm like, but I grew up with these movies that did this, and, you know, Glee and Grease and Not Another Teen Movie.
Ginny in Georgia has some
OC.
late 20s in it.
Yeah. And I'm like, it just feels like,
Degrassi.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I in Gossip Girl and yeah, I don't know. I grew up, and even Euphoria. I mean, I feel like I grew up with that. And so to me that it was, I think it felt like the world that the show is in a way, which is kind of this nostalgic, fever dreamy world of the 2010s in a way. But yeah, at times I would be, you know, you put on one costume and it feels real, and then you put on one and it's like, maybe you've gone too far. Like maybe it looks like we're trying to look young, and that's where we're like, oh, this is not it. But finding that balance and I think the humor in it too, I think that was so funny to me. I'm like, I think the internet could be like, you think you're slick, and it's like, I don't. None of us think we look 19, but we think that we've all been kind of accustomed to this being kind of an American tradition. So
yeah, it also plays.
Have fun with us. Yeah, it's like, just don't. You want to see kids act this out? Yeah. Don't start with me. Yeah.
What is the most embarrassing thing you've gotten unnecessarily competitive about?
Oh, God, it's probably Grailed. It's probably me on Grailed with these guys that are trying to lowball me. Yeah, I'm competitive about that. I remember this kid and it's so funny we're talking so much about Abercrombie, but here we are. This kid in like 5th grade, I remember he like went to Abercrombie Kids when he visited his family in Ohio, and he got a lot of good stuff, and I was like, that's really fucked up. I'm like, I would have loved that. So like clothes sometimes, or like if I see someone in something that I really like, I'm like, oh, damn it.
You'll go get it.
That's cute.
Yeah, you knew exactly the designer of my shirt.
Well, that's the DC collection for Acne Studios.
I mean, yeah,
but I don't know who I saw the Catwoman that they did, and I obviously need it. But who is that? Is it Wonder Woman?
This is Velvet Lantern, Jessica Cruz.
It's fantastic.
She's very cool.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
Well, thanks. Yeah,
I do love clothes. I love clothes. That's so maybe I'm competitive over clothes.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, I love it. You would never know given what we wear in the show, which was kind of the departure for all of us. That we're like, I would have actors come in and be like, so I'm in a bandage skirt today. Why do you hate women? You know, and I'm like, we're just trying to nail the time. Just let it happen. Look how dumb I look. I'm wearing like chinos to a concert. You know, like it's so, yeah.
When's the last time you put on a wig?
Last time I put on a wig.
When's the last time you even played a character of yours?
God, it's been so long. You know, we were in, I think Halloween might have been the last time when I did Death Becomes Her.
Whoa.
With Terry.
I mean, it's a long time.
Or no, sometimes at photo shoots, it'll be the end of the day and they're like, look what we found. You know, and they'll put a wig on me and I'm like, yeah, why not? I do miss it.
Like
yeah,
they
go, what's this? Fully styled. Yeah, I'm like, put it on. But Yeah, I have been, Deliverance Richards keeps popping up on my brain. I'd love to be her at some point soon. I miss it, but I think I just was like, I have such an opportunity with this show, and I can't be editing a video while I'm, in these meetings and in these, I have to focus on this one thing that feels like I've been given like such an insane gift. But I do, soon enough, we'll get the wigs back out. You got to try some on.
I've never really, properly worn a wig.
Turn you out. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I love putting on a wig.
Yeah, hey, absolutely,
Yeah,
baby.
you just
I
look
love
in the
that.
mirror, you're just feeling yourself. It's
When I have
me.
it, there is a shift.
Yeah.
Like
You become a new person.
when I was, I did Sabrina Carpenter for Halloween, and I put on that wig, and I was just immediately like, I am the horniest person alive. I was literally like, what the fuck? I kept the wig on through the whole drive home, to the point where my boyfriend and I, we wanted Fatburger, and we went there, and he's like, so are we gonna raw dog this? Like, are you gonna do it? And I'm like, I think I am. I don't think I can let this go yet. I had just filmed all of Overcompensating, so I was like, you don't know how badly I maybe need this right now. Like, I kind of need to wear this damn wig. God, I love it. And you just this. I could do this forever. Heaven.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Am I selling you on it?
Yeah, a little
Good.
bit.
Jake
Yeah.
Shannon's chapel was so good too. When
Incredible.
you guys did the trio.
Well, it was so fun because also I'm talking to Jake Shane, and he looks like that, but then we start having like some very kind of emotional conversations about coming out and being a part of the gay community and gay friendship. And then occasionally I'd like wake up to what was happening and be like, oh yeah, I'm sweating down my ass crack in a corset as Sabrina, and you have lipstick on your teeth as Chapel Roan. I was like, this is queer media. It's so, yeah, it was fun. He's the best.
He's very special.
Amazing. Yeah.
God, there's a lot of great queer creators out there.
Yeah, there are.
More now than ever.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
It is really exciting.
Yeah,
It is special stuff.
Yeah, it feels like, because I've been asked, they're like, do you feel like there's less of these shows getting made? And I don't exactly know the climate of like what shows are being bought per se, but I do know that what I see on the internet feels like a massive move towards more queer stories. And I think also, queer stories being seen on like a grand scale. Like I remember, seeing like a clip from Jake's live show, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like I'm like, and that's, a podcast tour and this is like really, I don't know. I'm like, clearly this is hitting with such a massive audience. Like I find that so exciting or seeing Cole win the Tony I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, and I think Oh Mary is such an unbelievable thing, because it's almost like unchecked creative, like that to me is one of the most unbelievable things I've seen, because you can just feel that it's Cole the whole way through, that there were no edits, there were no notes. Like this is fully what they wanted to make. I just think it's it sounds like
It's spectacular.
lame, but it's such an exciting time. I really do feel like there's momentum. And I hope that that it keeps going, because I feel it.
By the way, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, Oh Mary is about Mary Todd Lincoln if she was a cabaret singer.
Yeah. An alcoholic cabaret.
Like,
yeah.
what? Like,
It's
what?
unbelievable. I know the pitch that they said was that what if Abraham Lincoln's assassination was good for her? And I'm like, that is so, it's fucked. It's so genius.
It's
Like Cole
liberating
is
and
so
free.
genius. And have you seen the show? No. You have to go. I have never laughed harder in my life. It's so brilliant. It's some of the, it's really just so batshit genius, brilliant. I'm so excited for them. And yeah, I think that there's some great, I think, momentum around queer voices right now that I'm excited about.
How much is your focus on what's going on now and also what's preparing for what's next?
Oh, well, I fortunately, I think a lot of people have been bringing up season 2 to me. And in the comments, they're kind of like, cute, get back in the writer's room, which I'm like, okay. I'm like, we just finished. I'm like, can I?
It came out like 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. And that's the thing about a binge program. You really like, it is that moment. And then everyone's just like, finished in the day. What else you got? And I'm like, okay, nothing. I'm like, that. But
just did this for the last 7 years.
yeah,
Sorry.
so this took a bit. I'm like, fuck, I would love to go on vacation and just kind of, for a couple days or just like, yeah, I think sit with it for a second and just be so happy that it's out finally. And that I think, so many people in the cast too were like getting such great reactions. It's so fun for me to like watch a fan edit of Mary Beth. I'm like, this is like the greatest joy of my life. Like I'm feeling that, but I've thought about season 2 as long as I've thought about season 1. And so I think the prospect of hopefully getting to do that soon, it's hard for my brain not to just be like pitching myself things all day. So I am kind of in that mode right now in an exciting way. Cause I feel like each step of the process, I had so much fun in the middle of it because at the beginning I was so nervous because I hadn't really done it before. And I'm excited now to just be like, I'm just excited. Like I know what to expect. And I know that there will obviously be new challenges because you're also, now everyone thinks they know what the character should do. And I love that. I love that people are passionate about it. But yeah, it is fun thinking that like I can go into it having done it. And I know what to expect to some degree. So yeah, I just want to do season 2. I got some nasty stuff for you guys.
But like newfound confidence, right? Like
sometimes, yeah. I'll have it on one day and then the next day I'm like, maybe I should never do that again. I'm like, maybe we're good on that. But yeah, definitely a confidence of, I think of the things that felt really specific to being in the closet. Like I feel like all those things landed in a way that I like beyond anything I could have imagined. So I'm like so happy about that. So I'm like leaning more into that and more into, I think, the nostalgia of college and of that time period.
What'd you learn about yourself in the process?
Oh my God. That scene in the finale where I say that I'm worried that people won't love me anymore, I think was me. That was definitely a real scene for me. And I think also Wally too, of what Carmen says in that scene. I think I learned that, that this thing lives in me forever. And that this is like a part of me that I feel, I think, in my DNA of like, if I don't do so much, people won't love me. And that I won't be accepted. And I think I learned that what I thought maybe wasn't still there is so a part of everything that I approach, and how I approach the show and even like, and I think that being okay. And I think all of us overcompensating in these ways, it is a part of us. And we all just really want to be loved. And I'm like trying to give myself the grace of that, of like, of course, that I went to school and felt like everyone thought something was wrong with me. So I did all these things to make up for it. And I think that's still in me. And knowing it's there and like being able to laugh at it, I think at times is something I learned. And to just really trust your gut. I feel like I would say that to every artist. Like, I think if it feels right, it really is. I can't think of one time when I wasn't really passionate about something or really felt something where it didn't end up being exactly what it should be, And I think I'm really proud of the things I fought for in the show. And I think everyone else would say that. Like even, I remember I had a conversation with some people from Amazon about, some scenes or something. And they were like, we're so glad that was like something you were really passionate about. Like that's what this is. Like that's what it means to be a creator of something. And so I think I learned that too. But I think I'll process all of it in a while though. I don't know. I don't even know if these are my lessons totally. Because it's like, it's just like, I think this is what I learned, but God, so much. And how much music costs.
Crazy, right?
Crazy. I think it's amazing. Good that, the songs deserve it. I'm like, I get that. But yeah, I'll watch the show and I'm like, you can't even, it has ruined a few shows for me where I'm like, you can't imagine how much that cost, that production. They're going to have to do an ad in the next episode. I'm like, it's so, that shit is funny to me that, now is like a part of me.
You had to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah. I think in a weird way, the internet did help me for that though, because when I would approach like a sketch, I would have to think about how my makeup will look, hair, costume, how it'll be edited, what music I'll play, what the background looks like, if I'm going to be on a set, like that, or if I'm going to cast someone else in it, who they should be. So in the tiniest way, I feel like that helped me because I never really got decision fatigue in it. And I do know that that's definitely a thing because, in the final hour, there'll be like what is on the Reddit page of this thing that we're looking at on screen? Like, do you have anything that you want it to say? And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I do. I'm like, let's do that. You know, so it was, I think, kind of prepared me, but oh yeah, I think I'm also looking at projects where maybe I would just write or just act. And, you know, I'm like, I think will feel maybe also freeing, because it's also really fun to write something that you won't end up acting. But I wouldn't say that in the writer's room, I even thought about being like, yes, at some point I will do this. And then I would be on set and I'm like, they're adding the prosthetic, like, like blade through my heart with blood, and I'm fully naked. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I completely thought that through, but here we are, and we're gonna do it because I wrote it.
You have to disconnect yourself for a second.
100%, because you want to tell the honest story. So it's like you don't want to be scared and be like, oh no, I couldn't, you know. And I think that was something that we talked a lot about in the writer's room. Of like, at one point I was so in love with someone that I was interested in a condom that they had thrown away in a trash can. I was curious to look at it. And I was
real
like,
life?
Yes. And I was like, I can't say this. I'm like, but we were trying to find this scene to open the 6th episode. And they're like, well, you come back to the room and it's like, how would you know he had sex? And I'm thinking like, I know I have to pitch this at some point. And I'm like, this is a room of people and we're telling these college stories. And so I started tiptoeing into it. And then I remember Jordan Mendoza, who's in the room, he was like, fuck yeah, man, this is your story. Let's fucking go. And it just was so, I was like, oh yeah, like we can, if I feel so alone and weird about this experience that I had, someone else will feel this way too. Like there's just no way that this is like singular. You guys are looking at me like it's singular. You're like, no, it's just you. But I think that's what was exciting to me, and that I could still scare myself in this. And I don't know how much more I could scare myself in season 2, but a few pitches that are coming to mind I think will take me there. Of like, I think if we want to tell this very complicated story of coming out and of sexual identity, I think I knew that I had to go there. And hopefully it also kind of inspired, I think, the other writers and some of the actors to I think feel like it was a safe environment to do that, and that maybe through that they could also get something out emotionally that they wanted to.
It's really a fucking amazing show.
Thank you so much.
What's the fake semen made out of?
Oh, it's oh my God, yeah. Because at one point it is cut, but I tasted it in a take, but then we were like, too much. And that was me saying too much, just to be clear. Yeah, it's where I'm kind of like, nah. I think that was me and Scott King being like, I think that we're good on the just holding it. Like, we want people to stick around. It was, oh my God, it was like an oatmeal thing. Mix. And at one point, we're there. It was, or maybe we're not. It was like a healthy load in there. And I was like, this feels a bit much. I'm like, I think we can chill. Like, I held it up and I was like, well, what? I'm like, has he not had sex in 10 years? I'm like, girl, the full Quaker oats are in there. Let's chill it out a bit. So then, but yeah, I think it was like some kind of oatmeal mix, if I'm correct. Tasted way better than cum. Yeah. So cool. I love talking about that with you guys. Yeah.
You got to watch Overcompensating. It's waiting for you on Prime Video. There's a link below. Go, go, go. Watch. How did Lukas Gage get casted?
He's a friend. And they were like, who do you want to play that part? And I texted him and I was like, want to be a ex-Idaho football player with me? And then I sent the script and he was like, yes. And then he came.
That scene, the first kiss scene was great. All the flashbacks.
Fantastic.
I was like, you guys nailed that one. He's
so brilliant. We had so much fun. And also those scenes are like really kind of emotional and hard. And he was only there like a day. You know, we didn't have him for that long. And so it was great to have someone that we both felt so comfortable with each other and we're friends. And, you know, I hated doing that scene where I push him off. And it felt really nice to have a friend be there. I think that's the same with Mary Beth at times. It's like, if a day was hard on set, it's like, well, I'm with my best friend. And I'm like, you know, I get to deal with her.
Makes it way easier.
It's amazing.
And to be surrounded, you pick the right people to craft a great, vulnerable show.
Thank you so much.
And by the way, like, that's like kind of 80% of the job.
Yeah.
Picking the right people around you to do it.
100%. And being, and also in the directors too. And each one of those decisions, that was a Scott King thing too, where he's like, 100%, if at any point we feel like in a Zoom audition or interview that it doesn't feel like right, like if the alchemy's not there, even if everything on paper sounds great, and even if everyone's telling you like this should be it, feel that, and we should trust our gut, and we did, and I think it's a testament to the cast that we're with. Like they're literally like I want all of them at my wedding. It's like my favorite people. Yeah. Yeah. Even the people came for one day. It's like we had Caleb Heron for one day, and that's like he's genius. It's just we were so lucky. It just worked with scheduling. We had this part, and he was just like, sure.
He's truly
I need
genius.
him back. That's what, season 2 too. I'm like, I need him to spar with like Haley. I want to put him and Holmes together so bad.
You should be really proud.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Fantastic show.
This was so much fun. I'm coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, please come back.
I do have one more question. Do you care if people only know you as Benny Drama and not Benito Skinner?
No, I don't care at all. It's funny though. It is this really humbling thing that happens at an event where I'll say my name and they're like not on the list, and I'm like, is it under Mr. and Mrs. Drama? And then they're like, right here, they're right this way. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, we really got to make that clear. I'm like, no, it's so funny. It just feels like this other, it feels like that's what the work was. And I think it's funny. That's great. And
I told a friend that Benito Skinner was coming on today, and she said, who? And I said, Benny Drama. She said, oh my God, I love him.
That's so funny. Yeah, I think I don't know that necessarily, but yeah, I'm kind of like, we'll let them both. They both exist. They're both inside me.
Is Benny Drama a character, or is it a part of you?
Oh, the hardest question of all. It cuts right then. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm like, no, I'm done. Brett, yeah, we gotta go. Okay, this is so hard. What an unbelievable question. And I knew you'd hit me with some shit like this. I think that it is definitely a character to a degree, because it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily like if my characters and all these things, they're all me, definitely, but it does feel like such an interesting output from me, I think, given people who know me, because yes, I'm like that, but I'm also not like, I don't think I'm not at that level of energy all the time. I'm definitely leaning more quiet.
I was surprised. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is the first time we've ever met.
Yeah.
And based on the internet version of you, I would have thought
didn't know who was going to be on this couch.
No, I thought you'd be operating at 100.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you're operating at like a human.
Yeah. I love it here. And at times, of course, I can be psycho and go there, but I think it's probably through the show too that I've like just, I think at a certain point on the internet, I'm like, I just felt like I was trying to like always outdo myself or do something bigger. And, and by the time I was like the Starbucks mermaid BDSM with like full heels on, I'm like, well, how much further could I go? I'm like, I've kind of done it all. But yeah, it does feel like a different output from me, but it all feels a part of, I think, of my creative process of this, of like, and my, identity expression and coming into my own as a gay man. Like, I think that is what Benny Drama was. And it was helpful for me at the time to have a different name on it at first, I think. And so I respect that decision. I'll keep it forever because it's just kind of funny. And also 7 was my football number. That's why I added it.
True athlete.
Brutal. Dude.
You got to watch Overcompensating. I really could talk to you for hours because now I have a bunch of new questions, but
so
you got to
fun.
get the fuck out of here.
I really don't. You can ask me whatever you want, but we can go whatever you want.
Genuinely, no, Brett is like going to come in here and punch me in the face.
Yeah.
But no, very, very fascinating because even like, like Benny Drama helps you come into like accepting your truth and all this stuff, but also to a certain degree, like, maybe was like a defense mechanism or separation between you and the outside world.
Yeah, I think it was. Like, I used to think about going to events dressed as characters. Like, that was kind of what, and I think I did to a few events. Because I was like, they won't want me. It was just it's like so in my head, I'm like, no way, I'm not enough. Like, I got to be, I had this character, Benita, that was like a Southern charm woman. And I was like, I got to come to this as her. And I remember some of the people being like, you don't have to. Like, that might kind of take a while. They're like, you can just come and like wear a shirt.
You're enough.
Yeah, which is, I think, was hard for me, and thinking like, oh yeah, I could do that. But yeah, when I think back to that time, it's so funny because I am just like, oh my God, I have to do so much all the time, and I would just be running around how many costumes a day.
No, but
like, yeah,
Benito Skinner, more than enough.
Thank you, baby.
You're very special.
You're special. This is so nice.
Really, thank you for your time and energy today. Thank you for creating a show like this.
Thank you.
Very much needed.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of, queer people
Yeah.
Representation matters. So
Thank you so
really
much.
vital.
I'll be back so soon. I can't wait.
Us straight people love the show too.
Hey, thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
Means the world. Hey, we made it for you too. No.
By the way, like, welcome all the comments of people on the internet be like, oh, Dan straight? I didn't know.
Yeah, Dan, straight? Okay, sis. Yeah, is the straight guy in the room with us? No, they'll come for you. Don't worry. They're like, just to be clear, he didn't fucking meet Charli that night. I'm like, who knows what? I'm like, I don't know.
They know nothing.
Yeah, I love them all.
Benito Skinner.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Overcompensating, waiting for you on Prime Video. Please watch. Benito Skinner, everybody.
My kings.